What is up? Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Philly with John Marks. We're live on a Friday morning in June 6th. If you're watching live, shout out to everybody, our online community that we've built here on Philly with John Marks. Shout out to all of our chatters, our 8 a.m.ers that get up and watch the show, follow along, comment. Like K-Red's always usually the first guy that says good morning. And Peeling Onions is not a new member, but a newer member of the program. So if you're watching on YouTube live, good morning. If you're watching whenever, that's the great thing about YouTube. You don't need to catch the show live. Maybe it's 8:30 and you're like, oh man, I didn't realize what time it was. Yeah, just jump right in. You can start from the beginning. You can catch us whenever we are on the show. And you can always listen to the audio-only podcast. Just search Philly with John Marks wherever you get your podcasts. Rate, review. Give us a nice 5-star review. We appreciate it. As always, Philly with John Marks brought to you by BetParx. And we'll give our BetParx Parlay of the day later on in the show. So yesterday, actually within the Parlay of the day, I had said to Tyler, I'm like, like the over-under on the games is an 8. Because I was looking to take the over just because the Phillies offense hadn't done well the previous games. So I'm like, all right, like neither team really scored any runs. I think there's going to be an offensive explosion. It's a day game, blah, 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 blah. Well, the offense didn't explode for the Phillies again. And then when you look what happened with Jesus Luzardo again yesterday, I don't even know what to say about this. I don't know if I've ever seen anything like this. I mean, legitimately, on this very show, I found on ESPN.com, not midseason awards, but awards so far in the season based on this metric that they use. And I forget what the metric is, but like it takes into account a lot of different things. So it's like this player is the MVP of the NL based on this metric. This player is Cy Young of the NL based on this metric. And Jesus Luzardo was the Cy Young Award winner so far. Not like it's so far in the season, but still you're at the end of May, beginning of June. And it was like, wow, this is awesome. Dave Dombrowski, what a great trade. And I know I love the trade. Tyler loved the trade. A lot of people that watch the Phillies pretty closely, when you saw what Luzardo brought to the table from his time in Miami, you're like, all right, like, put him on a good team, put him with a good organization. Like, he can be really, really good. And he was really, really good until his last 2 starts. It's almost impossible that he has given up 20 earned runs in less than 6 innings in his last 2 starts. I honestly, I don't know what to say. And I don't know if there's an injury. I don't know if he suddenly has dead arm. I don't know. I don't know how you go from being, he wasn't Roy Halladay good. He wasn't going out there giving you 7-8 innings where he was giving up a run every time he was out there. But when you look at Jesus Luzardo's game log before the last 2 games, 7 innings, 10 strikeouts, 3 runs. 6 innings, 10 strikeouts, 1 run. 7 innings, 1 run. 5 1/3, 2 runs. 5 1/3, 2 runs. 6 innings, no earned runs. 7 innings, 1 earned run. Every start, for the most part, he came out there. And he may run into some early trouble, and he may put some guys on base, but he was getting swings and misses. He was getting strikeouts, and he was moving through innings, and he was giving you really, really good innings. His ERA on the 25th of May, Jesus Luzardo's ERA, after he threw 7 innings of 3-run ball, was 2.15. And this is when we gave him the Cy Young Award. I guess maybe I have to take some responsibility in this, along with ESPN.com. Last outing, 12 earned runs. Yesterday, 8 earned runs. 4.46 ERA. It's almost impossible. This isn't the first month of the season. There's been enough starts to where you don't have 2 starts and your ERA goes from 2.15 to 4.46. He goes from being the Cy Young front runner to, holy hell, what is going on here? I don't know what it is. I don't know. I said yesterday, I asked Tyler, do we think that was just a blip or is this something more concerning? And my answer was both. I'm like, I'm worried that he's going to come out and get shelled. But yeah, it's a blip. He's not going to come out and get shelled. We came out and got shelled. So the circumstance from the previous outing where it's like, well, it's one of those games and Rob Thompson got thrown out and he got screwed by the balk and everything just kind of unraveled from there and they didn't take him out in time. No, 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 no. All of that is out of the window. We'll talk to Pat Egan. He writes for PHLY about the Phillies and the Phillies minor leaguers. He'll join us in about 15 minutes. But let's bring on the expert here on the Phillies at PHLY from the PHLY Phillies show, and he's live again today with a live show, is Tyler Zulli, who was watching the game yesterday, doing his recap video. Tyler, just like we drew it up, man, 2.15 ERA, and then in 2 starts, his ERA is 4.5. Joe Bland, what's up?
It's 2 really, 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 can I say really, again, really bad starts in a row. And it's unfortunate because he was excellent. And the funny thing is, too, when I was talking about him during the Philly shows and when you and I chatted about him, the thing that I marveled in with Jesus Luzardo was like, Jesus Luzardo didn't have his best stuff last night, but he ended up striking out 8, ended up going 6. Command might have faltered a little bit, but he battled through and he grinded through. And those are the attributes that Jesus Luzardo's always been known for. He's always been a high pitch count guy. He throws a lot of pitches per at bat, a lot of pitches per start to get him through a 5 1/3 or a 6 or maybe get into the 7th. And that's totally okay. The last 2 nights, I think, or the last 2 starts, to me, the biggest issue, and it could be tipping pitches, it could be dead arm, it could be fatigue. He's approaching, if he's not already surpassed it, he's approaching last year's innings total. Now, last year was an injury-riddled season, but he's getting close to it, and he hasn't thrown a ton of innings in any given season in the course of his career. I think the last 2 starts, the thing that were the most concerning to me is he's leaving a lot of stuff over the heart of the plate. The first 10 starts of the season, he was meticulous with back foot sweepers to righties, down and away sweepers to lefties, run the fastball in, run the changeup down. He had a good 4-pitch mix. The last 2 starts, he has left a lot of fastballs over the heart of the plate. It doesn't matter what, who you are, what player you are. You could be Miles Straw, who crushed him yesterday, who Miles Straw can't hit. Miles Straw has notoriously not been able to hit throughout most of his career, who tagged him for a couple of extra base hits. Like, he left way too many pitches over the heart of the plate yesterday, and he did it against the Brewers, too.
Yep. Yeah, right-handed hitters, like you said. When you're a left-handed starter, and we're not talking about a reverse split type batter like Kyle Schwarber, the typical right-handed batter against a pitcher like Jesus Luzardo, like a lot of times when you have a tough lefty, if your righties in the lineup don't make them pay, then typically you're going to have trouble scoring runs. And the righties have made him pay. Now everybody's hitting him. Don't get me wrong, but I think I don't know if they have stacked righties in the lineup against him. Like I don't know the Brewers roster that intimately, or certainly the Blue Jays, to where I don't know if they're. I know Bo Bichette's a right-handed batter. He clubbed the home run off of him yesterday. So yeah, it's concerning. I mean, Tyler, the typically when a pitcher gets hit this hard in consecutive starts, it's obvious if you see a major drop in velocity, then you're like, all right, well, something must be going on.
Right.
But that really hasn't been the case. It's like you said, he's just leaving meatballs right over the middle of the plate. And you make those mistakes, even to bad hitters, they're going to club him. Because he has good velocity. He doesn't have great velocity. So he can't make mistakes like some pitchers can. And it's like, oh, well, you're going to end up throwing it by him. So, man, this is... In the grand scheme of things, he's still been very good. This is just 2 starts. But, one is an outlier. 2 can be the start of a trend, right? And, I had seen some people out in the chat, I think FitDad had said this is he's starting to be concerned about the Phillies at this point. All right. I still think they're gonna be fine ultimately, but not a great development for Jesus Luzardo. All right, another thing.
And you brought up how many righties were in the Blue Jays lineup last night. 7 right-handed hitters and 2 switch hitters. So effectively 9 right-handed hitters. And that's going to happen, right? That tends to happen. The teams do it to Christopher Sanchez too. Sanchez has seen an absurd amount of right-handed hitters. The Braves did it. The Rockies did it. In both starts. Teams are going to stack righties against these guys. Now with Sanchez, the beauty for him is his changeup's so good, and it's actually sometimes better against righties than it is against lefties, that he can neutralize that. For Luzardo's sake, he has to spot the fastball and then use the tight gyro slider that he uses to keep right-handed hitters off balance.
Right.
He was, again, throwing too many pitches over the heart of the plate yesterday. It doesn't matter who you're going to face. 9 right-handed hitters are going to get to you.
All right, so I'm speaking to the biggest Brandon Marsh hater in the city of Philadelphia, and not just for this season, but this has apparently been going on for a while. I'm over. I'm finished. I'm over it. If defensively he can't make, I don't want to say routine plays, but routine plays in center field. If you're a center fielder, you're supposed to be able to make difficult running catches, and when your bat doesn't back you up, and your OPS is like terrible, and your average is terrible, and you're not getting on base, and defensively you're just an player. I've had it with Brandon Marsh in the outfield. This team is not good enough if Brandon Marsh is playing. If you have Weston Wilson, who, by the way, might be better out of the bullpen than he is as a left fielder, Brandon Marsh, Weston Wilson, and you're teaming that with Rojas, who I'm fine with, it's not good enough. That's just not good enough. And I've had it with Brandon Marsh.
Well, and this is where we get to that conversation that you and me and BG had the other day about what's the timeline for Justin Crawford. Because like in an impact setting, Justin Crawford may not quite be ready to be an everyday major league outfielder. But if you're going to bring Justin Crawford up at any point, he's got to play, right? So like if you're bringing him up, he's playing, to me, at least 4 days a week is probably the baseline for him to play. And so you're having this internal debate of like, do you just like weather the storm until the trade deadline? Do you weather the storm until Justin Crawford comes up? Like, and then, obviously speculation last night was, well, he got pulled in the 5th inning. So they were winning by a bazillion runs. And I think there was a hamstring tweak, or it was a precautionary thing is basically what I had heard. But people were like, and probably rightfully so, people were like, whoa, is this it? Is it time? Because of how bad the center field play has been. I think at this point, John, and not to say that I am this like enormous Johan Rojas fan, but I think at this point I would give more starts to Rojas, less starts to Marsh. And, I think you just deal with whatever offensive productivity, because I think at least the ability to cover ground for Rojas is out there. Marsh is a very good defensive left fielder. He is a fine defensive center fielder. But I think you need more from him on both sides of the plate. And if he's not going to give you defense and he's going to hit, 160 against lefties and make himself unplayable, he's a platoon player who doesn't have doesn't even have platoon ability.
No, he doesn't. And Crawford may end up being, and we'll see what happens with that hamstring. And by the way, this portion of the program brought to you by GLAT Hair Restoration, GLATHairMM.com. You can call or text them at 610-980-4000. 610-980-4000. Yeah, I like the defense. And again, this is when you watch every single freaking Phillies game, you drive yourself nuts because Trey Turner is hitting great at the plate and he fails to make routine plays, and he has the second most errors since 2023, whatever else it is. It drives you nuts. And right now, this team's driving nuts. By the way, consecutive games with 1 run. So, it is okay in some of these games where your starting pitching isn't great, or you just have to outslug the other team. Isn't how this team was built? All the bitching and complaining we do about the bullpen, and now we're on Luzardo, and we're complaining about Brandon Marsh, who's not even a starter. Hey, Bryson Stott, you're hitting 244, brother. I love what
Stott's not been good, and we've praised Stott because of his plate discipline. And I thought, the late portions of April and the early portions of May, he was hitting the ball well, and he was spraying the ball to all fields and seeing the ball well. He was seeing a lot of pitches. He was, I think, 2nd or 3rd in the league in pitches per plate appearance, and he was doing exactly what you needed from a leadoff hitter, especially against the right-handed pitching, because he was grinding out at bats and he was walking a ton. And the last couple of weeks, he's not been good. There's no doubt about it. He's kind of regressed to not hitting the ball very hard. He's not finding any soft spots when he is hitting the ball hard. So I think over the last couple of weeks, if we're going to spray out the blame for losing 6 of the last 7, I think it goes to the offense just as much as it does the pitching you brought up, because like you said, 1 run in back-to-back games, 5 hits in back-to-back games, really no threats. Nick Castellanos solo home run. And yesterday they got 1 in the 6th, I think, off of Bassett, or the 5th or whatever it was.
Yeah,
But
the game was pretty much over at that point.
Bassett was in control last night. And I said right before I did a little quick pregame show for PHLY yesterday. And I said, one of 2 things are going to happen. They're either going to crush Bassett, or you're going to look up and he's going to go 6 scoreless. Because that's the type of pitcher Bassett is. He throws 6 different pitches, junk baller, willing to work up in the zone, even though he only throws like 92. But he knows how to pitch. And,
Right.
He screwed up the Phillies offense yesterday and kind of like screwed them into the ground, basically, with pitch sequencing. So if you're gonna spread blame over for the last week or so, the offense deserves some too, no question.
Oh yeah, I'm totally annoyed by the offense because Schwarber's not hitting home runs. I mean, going into this season, we were talking about Stott a lot. It's like, all right, in 2024, he regressed. You were expecting him to take that step. He didn't. He actually went backwards. The elbow, he had an elbow problem or whatever. And then when they moved him to that leadoff spot, I think pretty much right away, it was like, wow, like, all right, like he's back. Look at the pitches he's seeing. Look how he's working counts. I feel like I haven't seen that in weeks. His on base percentage is too low. They gotta take him out of that leadoff spot. They gotta see. You're at a point right now. You have a day off. Like, let's move the lineup around a little bit again. It's okay to tinker. Castellanos has been hot. Let's get him. Yeah, let's get him some at bats. Yo,
Bo's swinging a good bat too.
Bo's been hitting well. How about you get Mundo Sosa in there and give him a start? And hey, Stotty, why don't you rest up, brother? Maybe your elbow's bothering you a little bit, right? Bryce, after having that initial home run, he struggled again yesterday. He hasn't had a great last 2 games. And Kepler kind of sucks right now. So, like, I mean, really, when you look at it and you're like, all right, well, you have a logjam of bats in the outfield. So it's like, are you trading for somebody? Or are you bringing somebody up? Who, you know what? Brandon Marsh may need to be traded or designated. Kepler may need to be a backup despite making $10 million, right? Like, you have to start producing. Weston Wilson, probably you need an upgrade with a right-handed bat. You can't have everybody not hitting at the same time. And it feels like with the Phillies, that's what you get. Same story. All right, Pat Egan's going to join us coming up. PHLY Phillies. I know he had a minor league piece that's up there on PHLY right now, and we're actually going to be joining him live. He's in between men's league hockey games. That's correct. This guy's, he's not in his 20s. He's got 2 kids at home, and he's playing men's league hockey. He's always reviewing his movies. Does he have a full-time nanny or something in his home? Does he have an au pair at his house watching these children? Pat Egan live from the rink talking Phils right after this. It's Philly with John Marks. We are back in 2 and 2. Do not go anywhere. All right, listen. Summer's here. You know what that means? If you have children, the kids are out of school. Yep. Yesterday was the final day of school for my children. At 7:15 this morning, my daughter said, "Daddy, I'm bored." And my wife had said the night before, "I don't want to hear you're bored tomorrow morning before 9 o'clock. Well, she did it at 7:15, right? Well, summer's here, so the kids are home, right? How about this? Perfect time to teach them something that's really, really cool. We've talked about this before. It's the Greenlight debit card app from TrueMark Financial. So if you're a TrueMark Financial member, you can get a free Greenlight account for your kids or your teens. Like I got it for my kids. It's a simple way for them to manage their own money, whether it's a job, allowance, or birthday cash. So they get their own debit card with their name on it. They think it's the coolest thing in the world. And you can, the thing that I did was I'm like, all right, all 3 of you have certain tasks that you have to do. And then you get an allowance of, let's say $5 a week, $10 a week. And it's directly deposited from your account into their account. So they're really learning about money. And it's so cool. Like if they want to get something for their grandparents or for whoever, for birthday or whatever, they can go in and they can use their debit card to make purchases. So head over to TrueMark.com/Greenlight to get all the details and to sign up today. This is a really, really cool thing. TrueMark.com/Greenlight to get all the details. Don't miss the chance to set your kids up for financial success. Hoo-ah, we're back. All right, GLAT Hair Restoration. Got the hat on backwards I was at the pool yesterday, coming out of the pool with my wet hair, looking at my great hairline from GLAT Hair Restoration. That it really is amazing because, like, occasionally I'll go to the grocery store and I just have someone come up to me and be like, "Oh yeah, that GLAT Hair Restoration, they're really good." Like, yeah, they are really good. So people notice the results. It's doing radio where people can't see you necessarily, and then doing a digital show like this where when I don't have my hat on and I'm very, very close to the camera, you can see what my hairline looks like. So like, I can't lie to you and tell you how great the results are. You can see it. You can go to my Instagram page and you can see what my pictures look like my pictures when I'm out and about doing stuff, that I'm snapping things and I'm putting on Instagram, right? These aren't touched up, doctored pictures to make the hair look better. This is what my hair looks like all the time. You can have that same hair. GLAT Hair Restoration. If you're balding, if you're thinning, that's all right. A lot of guys are. And if you want to deal with it, you don't care, you want to shave your head, go for it. If you want to keep your hair, GLAT hair Restoration. The industry experts, the leaders in the industry, over 30 years of experience when it comes to hair. So this isn't just some recent come onto the scene, all right, we're doing hair, we're great. No, over 30 years. Their hair team, and I've known them for 12 years, their hair team has more experience than anybody out there, certainly the most in the Philadelphia area. Give them a call. You can text them. Literally text them right now. Be like, "Hey, I heard Johnny Marks talking about you." 610-980-4000. They may ask you like, "Hey, let me see what we're working with." Send me a text of your hairline. 610-980-4000. Any questions that you have, you can text them or call them, or go to the website glathairmm.com. GLAT hairmm.com. glathairmm.com. Hooah, we are back. And I spoke to Pat Egan very, very early this morning about the Phillies and everything else. And if we're ready, Tyler, let's hear from Pat. Boom. It's right now. You can find him on PHLY. He writes Phillies, some Phillies minor league stuff as well. And actually, right now, we're catching him in between games. Pat Egan is actually at the rink. You really are at the rink. Hold on a second. Let me see what's there. We're going to do a little closer. Where are you right now?
I'll move the camera. There's Slapshot up there, Youngblood, some smaller stuff. I am in Westchester. So I'm in like the director of Westchester's rink. I was like, dude, I just need a place to like record. He's like, "Oh, use my office." So I'm in his office.
Well, you're a big deal, Patty.
Yeah.
We needed to talk to you.
You said it. Everybody's thinking it, you know? Yep. So he understood. He'll probably be back in a half hour or never. So. All
right. Well, let's get to it then. Just like everybody predicted, Jesus Luzardo's last two starts has given up more runs than any pitcher in Major League history within a certain amount of innings. I mean, I honestly, I'm still in shock. I had said yesterday, I'm like, all right, well, like, am I worried, or do I think he has a bounce back effort? And it's like kind of both, if that makes any sense, right? Like, yeah, I was like thinking he was going to bounce back. I was not expecting another bad start like he had. So, like, all right, what's the deal? Are you worried about this?
I'm not. Funny enough, though, I do wonder how long before we start seeing people on Twitter say Mick Abel over Jesus Luzardo in the rotation, because you and I both know it's coming. Like, those phone calls, we know they're coming. But I'm not worried until we get a month of this. If it's 2 bad starts, fine. If it's a month of it, then I'm like, oh crap, did something go wrong? You know, did something go wrong with his mechanics? Did he kind of revert back to what he was last year, which wasn't great? But 2 starts, I'm not worried at all. I just look at it like bad outings. I wouldn't be shocked at all if he bounced. I actually expect him to bounce back, just because I got 2 months of really good pitcher, so I'm not going to overreact to 2 bad starts. Yeah, even though they were really bad.
They were really bad. It's the first Phillies pitcher to give up 20 earned runs over 2 consecutive starts since 1930. Almost 100 years. And you remember 1930. That was a rough year.
Yeah. No, that was Hippo McCormick, if memory serves me correct. Yeah, he wasn't great. Yeah, Yeah, look, if you might as well be in the record books though, right? Like you might as well be remembered for something.
Bro, I saw this thing on ESPN.com where I forget which writer, like maybe Doolittle, whatever baseball writer, they had this advanced metric, and they were saying, okay, here's who the Cy Young would be with this metric. Here's who the AL MVP. They went through all the awards, and Jesus Luzardo won the National League Cy Young. And I read it. I'm like, oh, I bet nobody saw this. I'm going to be the first one to unearth it. So I go on the air and I said, like, oh, Jesus Luzardo would have been the Cy Young. People are talking about all the moves in the offseason. Like Dave Dombrowski killed it with this guy. Now his ERA is almost 4.5. He's got a Joe Blanton ERA. 2 starts. His ERA is down by 2 runs, man.
I
hope you're
say,
right.
I would say he's got a Joe Ross ERA personally. But but I still think Dave Dombrowski killed it. Like I haven't kept up on what Starlin Cab is doing just because I've been more focused on what the Phillies minor league.
Not much.
But that's the thing. Like you trade, and you know this more than anybody too. Like you trade these guys that are in, A ball, and more than probably 75% of the time, these guys are supposed to be incredible. They flame out in like high A. They flame out in double A. So I still think he killed it. Like I've been very critical of Dave Dombrowski and the moves he's made. I think this one was a no-brainer. Now, granted, if he ends up giving up 8 earned runs for the rest of the season every start, then maybe I'll walk it back. But they're not going to miss Starlin Caba because they have enough infielders in their system right now who are crushing the ball.
Yeah, I agree with you. They're fine. It's 2 starts. Like I'm halfway kidding around here with it, but you do worry about, is this mechanical? Is he tipping his pitches somehow? Is he fatigued? Does he have some type of injury? Yeah, like how many times do pitchers feel something in their elbow and their shoulder and they're not mentioning it? They're not telling the manager, they're not telling the trainers because they don't want to come out. So who knows what's going on here?
Dude, I mean, we all saw what happened in Atlanta with AJ Smith-Shawver. I mean, he's throwing pitches with his elbow, like, hanging on by a string. Ryan Snitker's literally asleep at the wheel. And you've got Spencer Strider having to go over and be like, he's injured. I don't know if you guys know this. He's literally injured. So to your point, yeah, pitchers don't want to come out because they're competitors. They're athletes, and they probably think, oh, that little pinch that I feel, it'll go away. I'll be all right. And then it lingers and it carries over into more starts until finally you do get a situation where they go on the IL and, boom, they're out for, 15, 30 days or whatever.
Yeah. You had mentioned the minor leagues, and very quickly the Phillies have some guys in AAA and AA that like now you're looking and you're saying like, all right, can they help the big club? Justin Crawford has been tremendous this year at AAA. Otto Kemp as well, who's certainly hitting for a lot of power. Yeah. I think Kemp is ready to come up. I'm not so sure about Justin Crawford because I think he needs to get everyday at bats. And if you give Kemp 3 or 4 starts a week, 3 starts a week, maybe 2 starts a week, I don't think you hurt his development. He's 25. I think this is the type of player he's going to be. But so you cover the minor leagues for PHLY. You pay attention to what's going on down in the farm system on a daily basis. What would you do, and how far away should the Phillies be from bringing up a Crawford and or a Kemp? And I'll say this, like for the most part, I've laid off of Brandon Marsh, even though I'm disappointed in him, and he's clearly not a starting outfielder right now. His defense sucks now too, so you can't even rely on him being good in left field with his defense or center field with his defense. And he blows when he sucks at the plate too. So like, what should the Phillies do here? They have some young guys that might be ready to step up.
Yeah, both of those guys were mentioned in my article. You can read on all PHLY for the top 5 prospects in the month of May, and for good reason. Like Justin Crawford, I do the top 3 for the week. He's been basically penciled in every week because he's been crushing the ball. Like he proved that organization right by placing him at AAA. He's hitting well over 330. His on base percentage is incredible. He's kind of doing it all. I would keep him in AAA for another month because there is no rush. He's extremely young for that league. And I think the other thing that you got to think about is like, what did we just witness Howie Roseman do with Bryce Huff? He admitted he was wrong. He trades him. GMs don't really do that. So when you have a GM who trades for a Brandon Marsh and they think, okay, like, we're going to untap that potential, they will wait forever to untap that potential. And I fully expect Dave Dombrowski to do that. And they basically have I think in all of our opinions, like 2-3 guys that are quad A players, and Johan Rojas, Brandon Marsh, and Weston Wilson, and Max Kepler, if you want to throw him in there too. If you bring up Crawford, he's got to play every day. So who's the odd man out? Which means you got to trade one of these guys. And who's trading for one of those guys? Probably nobody. Otto Kemp, I agree with. I think they let Cody Clemens go because of Otto Kemp, because they knew that he's close, because he can basically play all the positions that Cody Clemens can play. But he's leading the International League in just about every offensive category, or if not, he's top 5. Like, he's the International League MVP right now. I think he's ready. I agree with you. I would have no problem if they bring him up. I just don't know exactly like who they send down.
Well, Weston Wilson would be the.
But
even though he's good out of the bullpen.
I was just about to say, he's their long man right now. But that's the thing. Like, I'm sitting there watching the game today, going like, do we need Weston Wilson on this team? Like, why? So
he's not giving you he's not giving you anything right now.
No, and I agree with, like, I've never been enamored with Brandon Marsh's defense in center. I think his defense is good in left, but I think Johan Rojas is the best center fielder they have, but they're not going to give him every day at bats. So they've got an issue, because if they do bring this kid up, you got to play him every day. I would keep him in the minors for a month. Otto Kemp, I'm cool with bringing him up because he is more than ready at this point.
He sure is. All right. So now, and the ebbs and the flows of a long baseball season. So they go on the run where they almost win 10 in a row. I think they were 9-1. They won a bunch of series. They get a bunch of sweeps, and now they've struggled here, losing 2 series in a row, getting swept by Milwaukee. Like it's kind of like now you're entering June, and before you know it, you're going to be at July and the All-Star break. How long can you go before trying to make a move here to shore up this bullpen? Because right now, when you look at the bullpen and who pitched last night, Luzardo kind of is what he is. Like, he's probably not a good major league reliever. Taijuan Walker, they're going to try to carve out a role for him, and I actually think they can. I think he can be a good 7th inning guy. Seth Johnson's ERA in AAA as a reliever was over 5.
Yeah,
and so they're going to throw a bunch of arms, but I just don't know who's going to stick and be good enough. And can you really wait to the trade deadline before acquiring a reliever here?
I mean, right now they have one lefty out of the bullpen in Tanner Banks. Like, that is not a good sign. But I think Dave Dombrowski's shown that he's not exactly proactive. He kind of waits until, the deadline or the day before the deadline to make a move. He's not going to go out there and just make a move. He's going to wait for the price to go down. So I do think the starting pitching is good enough to get them to the deadline where they will be, right there record-wise with everybody else. But you're right. Like, I feel like there's probably an internal option somewhere in AAA. You just got to find that guy. But it's definitely not Seth Johnson. It's not Michael Mercado. I don't know who it is. I mean, they got Koyo Aogi, who I'm probably butchering his name, who they signed from Japan. Maybe he can be it, but you got to do something, man, because this bullpen's really, really bad. It's not as bad as 2021 or 2 when it was like the worst in baseball, but it's horrible. Where it's getting to the point where if they get through an entire game without giving up an earned run, I think all of us are surprised. Nobody was surprised at what happened 2 nights ago with Jordan Romano. It's getting to the point where I'm sick of him. Like, I'm sick of hearing well, he's been pitching better of late, because this is what he's going to do. He's going to go out. He's going to give you two appearances where he doesn't give up a run, and then he's going to give up 2 and lose a game. And he's going to stick around enough for the Phillies to convince themselves, maybe he turned a corner. He didn't. Didn't. So they got to do something, man, because and not only do they have to do something, they have to get it right.
Well, listen, Joe Ross is patiently waiting in the wings for his role to be up in his hive.
Don't start.
Yeah, you saw him pitch the 7th inning the other night. 1, 2, 3,
lights out.
Down. Yep.
Lights
Ruben
out.
Mara was very pleased with his outing.
We got to get you a Joe Ross jersey. Imagine you showing up at the ballpark with a Joe Ross jersey.
Yeah, people are like, who's that Ross? Did Cody Ross play for the all right, who's the next Ross you would think of if it's not Joe Ross?
Yeah, Cody, Joe.
Ross from Friends, right?
Yeah, Ross Geller. Ross the Boss Ray from the movie Goon.
Ross Tucker.
Ross Tucker's a good one. I love Ross Tucker, man. I think he's so underrated.
Oh, he's awesome. I love him. I love Ross Tucker.
He needs a bigger role.
Yeah, I agree. Ross is really, really good.
I didn't expect to do our Mount Rushmore of Rosses, but here we are.
You never know, man. You never know when I get you on the line. All right, let's switch gears briefly to the Sixers. Answer this question. Better chance of happening in 2026. The Sixers make the Eastern Conference Finals or the Sixers miss the playoffs?
I think they make the Eastern Conference Finals. I think there's a much better chance. I am a little worried that the Knicks fired Tom Thibodeau because I just looked at him as a coach that is going to be so hard on his players that by the time they get late in the season, they wear down and, we see what happens to them. And the East is pretty good. I'm Billy Mumphrey right now, John. Like, I'm a cockeyed optimist with the Sixers. I look at a team that has a lot of talent. They just were badly injured last year, but we all know what's gonna happen. It depends on Joel Embiid. If Joel Embiid comes out next season and he's healthy, then they're gonna go far. And if Joel Embiid comes out and he looks like a shell of himself, they're going to suck.
What do you mean they're going to go far?
They're going to go far if he's
they're
healthy.
They're going to win a round in the playoffs? Awesome.
No, well, what I mean is they will be highly seeded. They will be, a top 3 seed in the East if he's healthy. How far they go, I don't know. But they have an issue because they're going to draft a kid at number 3 and they have to play him. And where do you play him? If you take Ace Bailey,
he may not be ready.
You know what I mean? It's difficult because you're going to have a fan base that's going to want to see the kid play. But I do think they have the perfect coach for that because Nick Nurse has shown in his career to build up these guys like a Pascal Siakam, like Kyle Lowry, who wasn't Kyle Lowry before he got to Toronto, like a Fred VanVleet. So they have a perfect coach for it, and we've never seen Daryl Morey draft this highly. And Daryl Morey has a pretty good track record of drafting. So I'm optimistic, man. Billy Mumphrey over here.
I'm optimistic that Morey's not going to screw up the draft, but I couldn't be further from you. Honestly, I think the worst case scenario is that they do have a successful regular season and then they win a round in the playoffs. And then the second round of the playoffs, they give up a little bit of a fight, but clearly they're not the better team and they lose because then Morey doesn't get fired. And then they go back to the drawing boards with the same core. And by the way,
I don't think he gets fired anyway because he just signed an extension. So
yeah, if this blows up again next year, no, and you're right, and he's owed a lot of money.
Yeah,
but I don't know. By the way, I asked this on Twitter. 86% answered the question: miss the playoffs, better chance of happening than make the Eastern Conference Finals.
I don't blame any Sixers fan for going with that line of thinking because it's a tough sell right now if you're the pro optimistic Sixers fan. I've been drinking the Kool-Aid. I've been downing it by the gallon. And yeah, I'm optimistic in what they do. I kind of look at last season as an everything could go wrong, did go wrong. And it's hard for me to imagine that a healthy Joel Embiid, a healthy Tyrese Maxey, throw whoever they draft to 3. And I think they have a decent bench. It depends on who they bring back. But yeah, I'm optimistic, man.
Would you trade Karl Anthony Towns? Would you trade Joel Embiid for Karl Anthony Towns?
No, I think my exact response to your text or tweet was F and no. So I want to, and I'll tell you why. It's the fear, and this is the most Philly thing in the world, which is appropriate for the title of your show. It's the fear of he would finally be healthy, and he would be healthy in the playoffs, and he would cook you.
Well, here, if you were to do that trade, it would give the Knicks the best chance that they could ever have to win a title. And if Embiid, because I firmly believe Embiid, if he went up there, he would have a season where he would play through all injuries. He would probably play 65 games. He would look like an MVP. They would probably still lose, but it's the best chance the Knicks would have is with Joel Embiid. And then it would blow up in their face because he would be injured. See, that's the thing. Can Joel Embiid, maybe he comes out next year and he plays more games than he has in a while. He plays 60 games next year. Can he do it the year after that? Can he do it the year after that? Can he do it the year after that? Dude's owed $250-some million over the next 4 years. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
Normally, when you get older and you're that big, or not normally, you don't get healthier. His body's already breaking down. So to think that next year he's going to come out and miraculously he's going to be healthy and then the playoffs start and you have this great fresh Joel Embiid, I think is crazy to think.
Yeah, I got ripped 2 seasons ago because I had a quote at our old work on the air, and I said, if you think that the window is closed, this is after his MVP season. If you think the window's closed, you need to trade him now. Because if the window's closed, then what are we doing? Because he's not getting any younger and everything you said. And I got ripped apart. And I don't think the window's necessarily closed. But if you do, then that trade does make sense. But I'm in the minority, man. I don't think the window's closed. So I would keep him. I agree with just about everything you said. But right now, like I am Charlie Brown, and the Sixers are Lucy holding the football, and I'm so ready to go kick that thing.
You know, the Charlie Brown, the peanut stuff, it doesn't resonate with the young kids. You know this, right? You got 2 youngsters. I tried the peanuts. I tried the peanuts with them. We tried watching the what is it? Whatever the Thanksgiving. Yeah, the Halloween one.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, like these kids, like the insults that they throw at poor Charlie, and Lucy's mean.
Yeah.
It calls them stupid and all this stuff. It's like,
she's not nice.
You can't even watch it. The kids are like, "Oh my God, Daddy, turn this off."
Yeah, no, it's definitely for a tougher generation, if you will. Hashtag built different. But no, I got my kid, man. Like, do you remember the show Guts on Nickelodeon? You're too old for it, but yeah, it was a show, and it was like an athletic, kind of like American Ninja Warrior on Nickelodeon, and it was hosted by Mike O'Malley, and it was called Guts, and they have it on Paramount Plus. And I had my kid watching that, and he turned to me. He's like, "Daddy, I can't wait to try out for Guts." And I didn't have the heart to tell him, but it got canceled in '96.
Yeah,
I got my kid watching all like the stuff that I watched, which is awesome. So like he watches like Guts and Legend of the Hidden Temple and stuff, but I haven't got him into Peanuts at all.
Yeah, no, Bugs Bunny doesn't. It doesn't resonate. They don't want anything to do with Bugs Bunny. I hated Bugs Bunny as a kid too.
He watched Scooby Doo. I was surprised he was watching Scooby Doo the other day.
Scooby Doo's interesting. I put the Three Stooges on because then on my Roku TV where you can watch PHLY, they have a channel for everything.
Yeah.
And they had this one channel that just had Three Stooges on the entire day. And I put it on and the kids were like, "Daddy, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Turn this off." And I'm laughing out loud watching it. Dude, when I was a kid on Sunday mornings, that's all there was Three Stooges. There was no cartoons on Sunday morning. Oh. So on Saturday morning, there was wrestling. And then on Sunday morning, was when it was the Three Stooges before you got to something at like 12 o'clock. Larry Ferrari was on Channel 6, so you're not going to watch that. Yeah,
dude,
so
I had
a lot of TV.
I had Disney one Saturday morning growing up, and it was amazing. Like, I loved it. And I have my oldest watching those cartoons that I watched growing up, so it's great. But I recently I showed him Field of Dreams for the first time. He loved it. So that was like a proud dad moment, was showing him Field of Dreams. And he was like really into it instead of turning to me and being like, "Get this off, dude. Like, I don't want to watch this."
Wow. What a dad moment that is.
I feel like that was a mocking. I feel like you're mocking me with that.
It was. I don't get those moments because every time I try, it's not, like doesn't ever land the way I think it's going to.
He loves Sandlot. He loves now Field of Dreams.
Little Giants, my kids love. We watch Little Giants.
He does like Little Giants. Like, yeah. Like I don't do
Ducks,
the whole.
They loved.
He loves the Mighty Ducks. I got him very into the Mighty. Anytime you want to do a deep dive in the Mighty Ducks, I'm like a historian with that franchise. All the problems with it that they you just ignore. They don't even address. Oh, I could break that movie down like nobody else.
Sounds like what Bill Simmons does with his stupid rewatchables things. He takes a movie nobody cares about and cares about it. Yeah,
Devon told me about that. Like, I probably should be on that, but Bill lost my number. I don't know what's wrong. So he doesn't call me.
I'll give him a text. I'll include you on it.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
You got it, buddy. All right, real quick. So you're in between hockey games here. How did game one go?
We won 5-2. I had a wraparound goal and an assist. This is my 6th game in 5 days. So I had 2 games yesterday, 2 games today. But I've been playing well lately. Like, I had 4 points of the night. So if you have me in fantasy, like I'm like Jesus Luzardo right now, but at the beginning of the season, not the most recent version.
No, I did not. I traded you. I drafted you, but I traded you. Just like, it was like Christian McCaffrey. I took him in the fantasy draft, and I'm like, what have I done? I was worried the same thing with you after the concussion. After you had the head injury, I'm like, I got to get rid of this guy now.
I did run into one of my teammates tonight who was just standing there.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I'll be all right.
All right, there he is, Pat Egan. Pat, good luck in that second game, buddy. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Johnny.
All right, there he is, Pat Egan. We're coming back with the BetParx Parlay of the day. That's coming back in 2 and 2. Don't go anywhere. All right, yeah, we are back, and it is BetParx Parlay of the day is coming up here in a second. But listen, let's talk about BetParx, right? How about last? See, not that I did it myself, but remember I was talking about that parlay with Indiana and Haliburton is the MVP. It was plus 10,100. I was thinking about this after Indiana won last night. I wonder what now that those odds are, because they win game one last night. So if you like betting, man, you can live bet every sport, including the NBA playoffs. The finals are going on right now. That was a great game last night. But really, you're looking for the Fightins to get off the schneid. They will get back at it tomorrow night. And BetParx is the place to do it, right? So individual performances in baseball, in the hockey playoffs, the finals, in pro hoops finals, you name it, they got it. And live betting is just better on the BetParx app. So check it out. You can get the BetParx app right now, and you get everything that you need as far as the world of betting. But also, how about this same app right in your hand? Live dealer table games, blackjack, roulette, craps, poker, and hot online slots. And if you're down in the first 24 hours, new users can get up to $1,000 casino bonus back. Go to betparx.com, download the app right now. Enjoy all the action and excitement from the casino at your fingertips. You must be 21 and in PA, New Jersey, Maryland, or Michigan for BetParx. You love to play, you play to win, you bet BetParx. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Hoo-ah. All right, so let's talk about Rothman for a second. I was actually one of my buddies I was texting with yesterday, and he was telling me he's a golfer. And he was telling me that, yeah, we're getting old, Johnny Marks. Like, what do you mean we're getting old? It's like, yeah, I just think I did something to my knee. Right? Well, what did you do? I don't know. I took the wrong step. Boom. So I'm like, go to Rothman. It's like, yeah, well, I put a brace on it or whatever. So if you have a nagging injury and it's not getting better, and this time of year especially, we're in summer now, kids are out of school, you want to be active, you want to be doing stuff. I love working out. People love playing golf, tennis, pickleball, everything else. Rothman Ortho. All right. So if you have a nagging injury, you don't have to live with it. You don't have to try to play through it. Get to Rothman right now. Whether you're keeping up with the kids, maybe your grandkids, doing just everyday stuff. If you're in pain, you got to go to Rothman, right? So maybe it's an old injury and you never got it taken care of. Maybe you're just getting a little bit older, right? So Rothman's team of experts is there to help you. Don't let pain hold you back. Visit RothmanOrtho.com/PHLY to schedule your appointment today and get back to being your best self. Rothman Orthopedics, we're getting you back to your game is their mission. Hoo-ah, we are back. Philly with John Marks. We'll get to the BetParx Parlay of the day coming up here in a second. Tyler, I had told you, I don't know, maybe it was like last week or the week before. So in my neighborhood, I live in a development, and obviously to sports fans, my days of being on the radio and now being on PHLY, people know me and they recognize me. And at the bus stop, when I used to take the kids to the bus stop in the morning, we'd have healthy sports conversations. It was kind of like my gauge for knowing what dad thinks about what's going on with the sports teams, which is actually really good because like my one buddy Seamus at the bus stop, when Nick Sirianni cried in the Super Bowl, he still hasn't given like even the Super Bowl, he hasn't forgiven Nick Sirianni for that. So you get an idea of what, like the everyday sports fan thinks at the bus stop. But so I was taking a walk. I don't even know how many weeks ago now, taking a walk with my family after dinner. And one of the neighbors that I don't particularly know well, I know him, but I don't know him. I've never been in his house or anything like that.
Sure.
And vice versa. He comes like, hey, John, blah, blah, blah. So his son, I guess they graduated from Spring Ford. His son graduated. They're having now graduation parties are this weekend, right? You'll go into a neighborhood, you're going to see lots of graduation parties this weekend, next weekend, or whatever. And so he comes running out, and he's like, hey, I'm having this graduation party. Would you do your show from the graduation party?
Wow.
Yeah. And I'm like, all right. I'm just, eating a popsicle, walking around it kind of took me by surprise. And I'm like, like I'm a nice guy. I was just like, yeah. I'll let you know. I'll let you know. So then he runs in the house and he runs out with you don't do invitations now. You just like, they have QR codes. So he runs out with an invitation as the QR code. And he says like, all right, well, snap on this, blah, blah. So I'm like, all right. Yeah. Right. Whatever. No intention of doing it, certainly. But so like I walk home or whatever. So then a couple weeks later, he reaches out to me via email, and it was kind of like he thought that I accepted the invitation to do the show via email, or like in the email. And I'm like, yeah, like I really didn't say that I certainly didn't say I would do it. And I made the mistake of not responding back. I kind of just let it be. Because I think like normally a person would be like, oh, he didn't respond back. What, like to me, like to you, Tyler, what would that be telling you if I didn't respond back to that email?
Not interested. Or not available. Maybe not available. I shouldn't say not interested. That's a little crude, but you get my point.
No, but that's what I should have said was that, I have another obligation. I have, because it's actually true. Kind of. So like, I just let that sit or whatever. So then like maybe a week or two later, I get a follow-up email. And in the follow-up email, I sent back and I said, listen, I have something going on in my house on Sunday, the following day, because the party's on Saturday, tomorrow.
Right.
And like, I get something going on in my house. I don't want to say what it is for reasons, but I have something going on in my house tomorrow. I have a ton of people coming over. Like, it's going to be really difficult for me to, like the day before, I'm setting everything up. I'm running around, I'm doing everything or whatever. And the response back I got was like, oh my God, like, no, like you have to do this. Like it was like, you have, like you have to do this. And my wife had already given me the guilt trip when I said like, no. She's like, well, why can't you just go over there? Like, so there was son's a big Philadelphia sports fan, listened to me on the radio. I don't know if he watches PHLY or whatever, but like, like 9 times out of 10, I would do it. It's just like, bro, on a Saturday afternoon in June to go to a graduation party where I know nobody. And I don't even know the kid. And I'm doing a podcast from this graduation party in the middle of the Saturday afternoon. So like I agree to do it. I'm like, all right. Like I felt bad. I'm like, all right, I'll do it. Like whatever, I'll do it. So that's what I have going on tomorrow. At 4:00, it's like I'm a magician. I'm doing tricks over at a graduation party where I know nobody, and I'm going to be doing a podcast. So over at the graduation party.
My question with this then is, so you're going to do this show, right? And it's not us. It's just you. Doing, and you if you stream it to your YouTube page or whatever, or whatever, whatever your decision is, what's the end goal? Just to have like somebody there talking about sports into a microphone?
Yeah.
And I don't mean that like snidely to you. What I'm trying to ask is like, when you ask somebody to come do the show, like you're just like you said, you don't really know anybody. Are you just going to sit at a table and like do a hour-long episode of your show?
I don't know. Honestly, no, it's like I can, the kid's a huge sports fan. I don't know if he wants to get into sports media or whatever. You would think somebody like, maybe he does. I don't know. Like you could see mom and dad being like, we love our son. He graduated from high school. We want to make this a special party. Him and his friends are all big sports fans. Hey, Johnny Marks, who lives down the street, he can come and do a show. Like I understand it. I see why. It's just like, it's awkward to me. And I know I'm talking about this, which is, like I'm like my way of dealing with this is talking about it. And like, I'm going to do the show. I'm happy to do the show, whatever. It's just like you had said, like, what am I doing? So like he had saw me outside. I was like mulching or something outside the other day, and he sees me. He's like jogging. He sees me. He's like, hey, he's like, oh, and I get the line of, you can, like all the food and drink that you want. Oh, thanks. Awesome. Just what I'm looking for. All the food and I can drink. Oh, White Claws and burgers. Let's go. And I know I'm being a little bit of a dick here, but I don't care. Like, that's how I'm going to have to get through this. Yeah. So like, I'm saying to him, like I said to him, like, all right, like, I got to say this. Like, what's your expectation? Like, what do you want me to do?
Yeah. I think that was my first question. And I think it's a fair question. That was my first question is like, what exactly is the expectation when you show up? Like, are they gonna have speakers and you're gonna broadcast it to the group? Are you just like
Yeah.
sitting there? Is he expecting? Because what I initially thought when you told me about this scenario, what I initially thought was like he was asking you to like to join his son in like a mock podcast, right? Because maybe he does want to get into the industry. And I think that's a fair ask to say, hey, could you show him the ropes and, teach him how this kind of operates a little bit and maybe do a mock show with him. I think that's a fair ask. I didn't realize that it was like during the heart of the party.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, yeah. So you're gonna have all these high school kids looking at me like I'm a hamster. Cause like, all right, he knows who I am. He pays attention to Philadelphia sports media. How many people are going to actually know who the hell I am? It's just going to be weird. So you know what I'm going to do? Yeah, the kid's going to be on with me.
Oh, for sure.
And there's going to be other people on with me, and I'm going to drink, and because then the other thing he says was just like, listen, like, I don't know if you're looking for like a hard hitting sports show. Like, I don't, like, I like, so I'm saying, like, I just don't, I'm not really sure.
Right.
And he's just like, oh, he's like, no. He's like, you can curse. We won't be offended if you curse. And I'm like, I'm not Howard Stern. There's not going to be lesbians coming with me to the party. Like, I'm not looking to use profanity. I don't get off on cursing. I don't curse in front of my children. So no, that's not what I'm looking to do. What I'm saying is like, what am I doing? Am I saying Jalen Hurts sucks? Am I doing a WIP type fake take, or like, what am I doing here? I don't know. It's
I think you should come on and do all of your the scorching hot takes that you don't actually believe. I think you should go on and do all ridiculous takes. You would trade Jalen Hurts for Daniel Jones. The best pitcher in the Phillies pitching staff is Carlos Hernandez. Just ridiculous stuff.
Or be believable. Be really offensive. You know what I mean? Like come on and
Jalen Hurts for Dak Prescott.
Jalen Hurts is overrated. Right. Yeah. Jalen Hurts is overrated. They don't. Every knuckle dragging Philadelphia sports fan that we make fun of have that take.
Yes.
And try to sell it like that's actually what I'm doing. All right. That's not a bad idea. Okay. All right. I'll take that into consideration. Anyway, I'll give an update on Monday to how it went. But yep. Yeah, I'll be in the neighborhood, just doing a Philly. I mean, you can, and here's the thing: you can watch it live on YouTube. I'm going to stream it on YouTube.
Oh, you are? Okay, so that was
it'll be on my YouTube. Yeah, okay, yeah, it'll be on YouTube.
That was my question. Like, are you just going to be screaming into the abyss? Otherwise, that makes sense if you're going to do it on YouTube.
I told them I needed like if they want to hear it, they need. That's what I said to them. I'm like, listen. And by the way, if you're watching on TV, slide on over to allphly.com because we are officially in overtime. That's the other thing I was saying was just like, like I'm in my basement. I have good equipment to do something in my basement. Sure. I don't have traveling equipment where I have a remote broadcast kit where I'm dragging everything over to his house. Like I have another microphone that somebody can use, but I don't have a setup where like when we go to the BetParx, when we go to the Parx Casino, or Anthony goes out to wherever, we have setup where you get an engineer to come out and you go out, or Andrew goes out and sets it, Julia goes out and sets everything up. I don't have that. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, even on the day that you and I went to Parx a couple of months ago, it was me, it was you, it was Black Gritty, it was
Maniac Malloy.
Right. There was 4 of us there that were, rotating in and out, and we had a setup and everything. And by the way, we did it with company equipment, right? Like, it's not like you and I brought our own stuff from home.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, I have a decent setup here with some equipment, but this isn't something that travels all that much.
Here's the thing though, based on the chat, the good news is if you ever need some extra cash flow, like, as your kids get older and you're thinking about college or whatever, like, people just hire you out to do shows.
By the way, he did offer to pay me from Jump Street. So he did offer to pay me from Jump Street, but like, I'm not going to.
Sure, yeah.
I'm not a magician. I'm not a DJ. Yeah. Like, I'm not taking, and believe me, this is the only way I'm going to be able to get through this is to actually talk about it. So this is what I'm doing. I found the whole thing like I don't know. It's not that it's like, I understand the request because it's for their son and it's his graduation party. And my wife made me feel guilty because she's like, why can't you just do it? Like, oh, why can't I just do it? We have somebody's backyard under a tent. Jesus Christ. Anyway, all right, we got to get to the BetParx Parlay of the day. What'd you think of that game last night, man?
So I went to bed relatively early, and I woke up at like 1 with the baby, and I saw a headline on my phone that said Pacers led for 0.6 seconds. It's the only 0.6 seconds they needed. And I was like, hold up. They won that game?
They won the game.
I was stunned when I found that out.
Haliburton did it again, although he didn't have a monster game points wise. Yeah, the guy's unbelievable. To think you could have gotten him for Ben Simmons and he could be a 76er right now is good. Isn't what the Sixers is missing is that player.
Oh, yeah.
The guy in the clutch that takes the shot and makes it.
Well, we've talked plenty about like having the ball in the hands of your best player is important. So having the ball in your hands of Joel Embiid, it makes sense down the stretch. But if you were to say, hey, do you want the ball in your hands of your big man or the ball in the hands of your, sharpshooting, off-ball guard, who are you taking, right? Like, I think the answer to that question. So there's not a problem having the ball in Joel Embiid's hands. He's your best player. But if you're looking for like just a dagger type of shot, then yes, that's what the Sixers have been missing for quite some time.
So the Pacers are now plus 265 to win the championship. They were plus 700, I think, just yesterday. So the parlay that we talked about, which was the Pacers and Haliburton for MVP, it was plus 10,100. So a $100 bet would win you over $10,000. Now it's plus 1,543. So it's 1,543 as opposed to $10,000 just yesterday for that same parlay. So still, like, the OKC still is favored to win the series. They're minus 335, sure. But still, man, like I'd actually said it yesterday that I'm like, I said it to Devon, like if there's a game you think they're going to win, the first game of the series may be for the Pacers, but they were down 15 in the fourth quarter. It's not like they just came out and they were hot and OKC looked flat. No, OKC wasn't flat at all to start the game. Indiana has this really weird way of grinding it out and being there and taking runs in the fourth quarter. And they were unbelievable.
25 turnovers yesterday or something along those lines. Like to win that game with as many turnovers as they did is really, really impressive. 24 turnovers. Really, really impressive.
All right. So with that said, for our parlay of the day, I'm taking OKC on the money line, minus 560. They're not losing. If they lose, it'll be awesome because they'll be down 2 games. But what did you have for today there?
John, I'm not gonna speak it into existence, but I have a chance at a 5-0 week.
Dude,
I have a chance at a 5-0 week this week, so I'm going to try to close things out strong. I'm going to go to the Red Sox and the Yankees game today. The Red Sox strike out more than every team in the league except the Rockies and the Angels, so they are 28th in strikeouts per game this season. They're facing Will Warren, who got crushed in his last start against the Dodgers, but he doesn't go deep into games, but he's been a strikeout merchant throughout most of the season. His over-under for the game is 5.5. I'm going to take the over in this one. He's done it in 7 of his last 9 starts, not including the game in which the Yankees lost 18-2 to the Dodgers, but he's gone 7, 10, 9, 7, 5 in 8 in his last 5 starts. I'm going to take Will Warren over 5.5 strikeouts today at minus 143.
All right. There you go. Good stuff. What do you got going on this weekend there, Tyler Zulli?
Yeah, well, PHLY Phillies show today at 1. We're going to talk to Jake Starr, who is the play-by-play voice of the Reading Fighting Phils. So we'll check in with him, do a little minor league report. And then this weekend we have a wedding tonight, a birthday party on Saturday, and then my wife's birthday is on Sunday.
No, oh, wow.
Yeah.
There you go. So you have a
pretty busy weekend for us. Yep.
All right. What time's the show? 1 o'clock today? PHLY Phillies?
Yep. So 1 o'clock, Jake will be on at 1:15. We'll talk about the Luzardo stuff. We'll talk about the, Justin Crawford hearsay, it seems like, but we got a lot to get into.
All right. There you go. Everybody have a great weekend. Anthony is live right now. Slide on over to him. We will talk to everybody live Monday at 8 a.m. See ya.
We all silly like the mayor.